Welcome back everyone, it's Charlie. This is going to be my new Marvel Phase 5 Avengers 5 video. There's a new report about Marvel's plans for how they're planning on setting up the roadmap leading to Avengers 5 in the new Avengers roster. So we'll break it all down. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs. We actually know a lot about what's happening during Marvel Phase 5 right now. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We're doing the Amazon giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and let me know what you want that new Avengers roster to be.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. No fears, no regrets. Part of the journey is the end.
So just going down the list here, number 5, if you didn't see the news, there's a report that Captain Marvel 2 is going to be Marvel's new version of Captain America Civil War in the way that they set up the next Avengers movie, the way that Captain America Civil War sort of set the stage for Avengers Infinity War. Samuel L. Jackson did say that Nick Fury has another team to put together he's considering right now on his Sword space station. You can see some of the connections to the Nick Fury character, very tied to the Captain Marvel character. All of the Skrulls running around in the background on that space station, also very tied to the Captain Marvel character. So it makes sense that they would use her movie as sort of a setup for the next big Avengers movie. There are a couple other big movies coming out that year, so we'll talk about what's going on with Black Panther 2 and how that's also probably going to set up the next Avengers movie. So what's the Marvel Phase 5 timeline in terms of Avengers 5 release date, which characters would be involved, who is that new Avengers team, if there are 6 original Avengers, who are the 6 new Avengers going to be, if the Sword space station is going to be the launching platform for the next Avengers team and it's going to be a space-based threat, what is the story of Avengers 5 going to be? What about new X-Men characters? What about new Fantastic Four characters? We're talking deep Marvel Phase 5, so we'll probably have already met some of those new characters. And who's going to direct Avengers 5 if the Russos aren't quite ready to come back yet? They did say that they would eventually come back to do more Marvel movies, but it would have to be the right movie, and according to them, the right movie meant either Marvel's new X-Men movie or Avengers Secret Wars. So 4, who is that new team? Like I said, if there are 6 original Avengers with a few extra side characters, not counting Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, because everybody got to be in those movies, you have to think a little bit smaller for Avengers 5. Just a main Avengers roster with a bunch of other side characters running around. So we'll just think about the main 6 right now. You have Spider-Man, who graduated to full-blown Avenger during Infinity War. He'll also be a couple years older by now in college, for those of you that are waiting for a 20-something Spider-Man instead of the high school Spider-Man. We'll call him number 1, and because Tony Stark named him his heir apparent, he's sort of replacing Iron Man on the team. Breathe a sigh of relief too, because Sony said that they would continue sharing the character with Marvel indefinitely, however many contracts that they have to re-sign with Marvel, so it's not a really huge concern. Chris Hemsworth claims that he wants to come back as Thor, so he's probably sticking around. Mark Ruffalo claims that he wants to stick around as the Hulk, so he's probably sticking around. Doctor Strange, we know, is sticking around. Black Panther is probably going to be replacing Captain America on the team and bringing Shuri with him, even though she's kind of a side character. Then obviously Captain Marvel 2 is setting the stage for what's happening during Avengers 5. She'll be on the team too, replacing Black Widow. That makes the 6 mains. There's going to be a bunch of other characters in the movie, but they'll be lesser characters, and they'll also be introducing some brand new characters too, talking about X-Men characters, big Fantastic Four characters. But 3, what is the story of Avengers 5? So if Captain Marvel 2 is reportedly setting things up, like I said, the threat, the villain, would have to be from outer space. That's why you would need to be on that Sword space station. It sort of justifies its existence too. The whole reason for the Sword agency in the comics existing is to protect Earth from threats from outer space, and Captain Marvel spends most of her time on an orbital space station protecting Earth from outer space. They could do Annihilation Conquest. The main villain of that is Annihilus. You just call it Avengers Annihilation. You could do Avengers Galactus if they want to fast-track the Galactus storyline. The Coming of Galactus was a Fantastic Four 3-part storyline where Silver Surfer showed up and basically told the Fantastic Four, Galactus is coming to end your world. There was a really big Kree Secret Invasion teaser during Spider-Man Far From Home when Nick Fury, the fake Nick Fury, who was really Talos of the Skrulls, was talking about secret Kree sleeper cells.
It really kind of went off the rails, and so we need you to come back, because everyone kept asking me where the Avengers are, and I don't know what to say to that.
So I think Secret Invasion is also pretty high on the list if the story of Captain Marvel 2 isn't already Secret Invasion. I think it's a little too soon for Avengers vs. X-Men or Avengers Secret Wars. I know a lot of people heard the rumor that Rogue is going to show up during Captain Marvel 2, and they want Rogue to get her powers like she did in the comics. Even if you're not a big X-Men comic book reader, you probably remember X-Men the Animated Series. On that series, Rogue could fly. The reason in the comics why she could fly is because she took Captain Marvel's powers. Remember, she can leech powers from other people. She did that to Captain Marvel in the comics, depowered Captain Marvel, who then actually joined an X-Men team for a little while, so Captain Marvel did cross over with the X-Men.
What are you doing?
But that's just a rumor. It would be a cool Easter egg if there was a Rogue in the MCU that then leached some of Captain Marvel's powers and gained the ability to fly. What about the timeline? When would Avengers 5 be released? It's going to be a May spring movie no matter what year it comes out, and if they're pacing things out the way they did for Avengers Infinity War, that came out 2 years after Captain America Civil War. So look at this schedule here. If Captain Marvel 2 is coming out July 2022, Avengers 5 would either have to be May 2023 or May 2024. I think a lot of that just depends on how fast they want to release their new Fantastic Four and their new X-Men reboot movies, because one of those at least feels like it would be a May movie. So if they want to fast track the new Avengers movie, they could just release it May 2023, but obviously not before then. I know you're all asking about Black Panther 2. That's probably going to be an enormous film. How's that going to set up Avengers 5? Well, one of the rumors for why Marvel waited 4 years since the first Black Panther movie to release it is because they want the MCU to be ready for new X-Men and Fantastic Four characters to cross over. They also kind of got into a spot of trouble with Ryan Coogler's contract renegotiation. They only signed him to do that first Black Panther movie, and when it did gangbusters and they wanted him back so bad, he was able to rake them over the coals on his contract renewal. He totally deserves it. I hope he gets paid for Black Panther 2. There's been a lot of talk about who's going to direct Avengers 5. They could always bring in fresh meat for the grinder, a director that they've never worked with before. I think it's a little more likely that they would look to someone that they know already and has done a giant movie, but because the Russos aren't coming back, that only includes James Gunn, Taika Waititi, Jon Favreau, Ryan Coogler, Joss Whedon. So you guys can let me know in the comments, looking at the list of directors that Marvel has, let me know who you want to direct Avengers 5 if it's not going to be the Russos. But number one, what is that Avengers 5 post-credit scene going to be? The Thanos Infinity Gauntlet level teaser that they drop at the end, setting up the next big saga. Just talking about early predictions, what I hope that they do is they actually just either go for the slam dunk easy Galactus win and just have Silver Surfer show up in the post-credit scene, letting you know that Galactus is coming.
Your herald summons you. Another world awaits. Let it be done quickly.
Or if they want to start setting up their multiverse arc for Secret Wars, they just have a major character that we've seen before show up from an alternate universe and destroy an alternate reality, sort of setting off the time runs out storyline. If you didn't read the lead up to Marvel's Secret Wars a couple years ago, what happened is that you have Doctor Strange and some of the Illuminati basically trying to destroy other realities to protect their reality as things slowly winnow their way down to the one battle world. So you have a lot of alternate reality versions of the characters trying to fight for their reality, destroying other realities. So you have a bunch of alternate Avengers teams, some of them good, some of them evil, trying to kill each other so that their own Earth won't be destroyed. Then after it's all done, you have the beginnings of the actual Secret Wars storyline. If it looks like they're going to set something that big up, then I'll do a much bigger video about that. It's a really complicated storyline. It could be really cool if they can pull it off. There's also the classic Secret Wars storyline, which is much smaller. That's just the Beyonder transporting all the Marvel characters to a world to fight each other to see who the strongest is. That's a good question to leave it on. Let me know in the comments, would you rather them do the more recent Secret Wars storyline as their next big Saga Infinity War Endgame level event, or would you rather them do something like the smaller original Secret Wars, which also kind of helps set up the symbiote saga for Spider-Man, because eventually they probably will want to do a symbiote saga for him. I'll do more Avengers 5 videos when we get more details about what's going on with that, but it's so far off in the future, don't expect to hear too much about that right now. Mostly they're just setting up all the Marvel Phase 4 movies, and there will be a bunch of that happening later this year. Congratulations, SoulVale88, you're the giveaway winner from my last big Marvel video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. Everyone click here for my breakdown of the new title for Spider-Man 3 in the Sinister Six movie, and click here for my Black Panther 2 teaser Easter eggs video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, I'll see you guys tonight.